The first weekend of baseball was filled with non-stop action from all around the league. If you missed some of the action, though, don't worry, because Matt and I got you covered with must-add waiver wire players on today's action-packed episode of Locked On Fantasy Baseball.
You are Locked On Fantasy Baseball, your daily fantasy baseball podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello, fantasy baseball fanatics, and welcome to the Locked On Fantasy Baseball Podcast, brought to you by the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. As always, we're your number one source of fantasy baseball knowledge, and thank you for making us your first listen each and every day. I'm your host, Dominic Martino. You can find me on Twitter at DomMartinoFB. Here, as always, with my brother, my co-host, my partner in crime, Matthew Ane, and you can find him on Twitter at Matthew_Ane. If you're listening on a platform like Apple or Spotify that allows 5-star ratings and reviews, we would truly appreciate it if you could do that. If you could do that for us. And if you're watching on YouTube and you haven't already, hit that little bell below. It subscribes to the channel and gives you notification every time we drop a new episode. And lastly, but most importantly to us, to Matt and I, join us on the Subtext platform. The link to join us on Subtext is in our bio, wherever you're listening or watching. On Subtext, we offer so much more than we can in this 30-minute podcast, including, but not limited to, direct text message alerts right to your phone with prospect call-ups, injury alerts, and so much more. And guys, today we're doing must-add waiver wire players, the first roundup of the year. I know we're a little bit late on this one, but we had the holiday. If you celebrate, we hope you and your family had a great holiday. But we're coming at you. We got some really great names, some deep cuts as well for those deeper leagues. But Matt, who do we got first today, brother?
Yep. It's exciting to be here. First waiver wire episode, I gotta say. This is always a good one. We're gonna open up with somebody that might be closing for you all year, and that's Abner Uribe. Hopefully I didn't butcher that too much. Somebody we weren't really talking about draft season, but I did manage to scoop him up at pretty much like my last pick in every draft, just because on the off shot that he was the one that came out with the job, and it looked like he did. He got 2 saves over the weekend, which was really nice. ERA wasn't desirable, but I mean, it was one of 2 starts. He didn't give up a run in his first start. I mean, his first outing, and his second outing, gave up a run, ended up with a 9, ended up finishing with total stats over the 2 outings. 0.45, got 2 saves, not mad at it. 3 Ks, which is great. Already a K, over a K per 9. Like, this is what you want from a guy like this. He throws gas. This is the one that everybody was kind of in the community when the discussion came up. Okay, who's going to be the solution for the next couple months? And, he seemed like, okay, this is the one they would want to roll out. But, I forgot the other name that was up there, but
Payamps, Joe
Yeah.
Payamps, and
Payamps.
he actually caught a save too. Interesting enough, because Abner went twice in a row. But
right. So Payamps will be like the other one, but like the short leash is there, and if Uribe cannot keep it, then Payamps is going to be the one that we're going to be switching to really quickly. So ultimately, if you did manage to scoop him up, he's 57% owned, so he's still out there in 43% of leagues. You really want to go out there and grab him because he might be the closer for the next 3 months. And hey, that's going to be some valuable saves. So go for it for now.
yeah, Matt, great take on Uribe. I really like what the kid did. He's has done in his career so far. Only 24 years old. Has a decent track record in the minors. Especially last year, was really good in the minors and the bigs. Uribe's got that big fastball, gets up over 100, averages 100 on it. Also throws a slider as well. That works when you're a closer. You can only, have 2 pitches and it works for you. I think Uribe should be honestly universally owned at this point. Should be owned in every single league that's active right now. He's getting you saves. Get him on your roster right now. Even if you don't need a closer, it's trade bait at this point. As Matt said, this guy could be closing for the next 3 months. In a month from now, you throw him out there, you try and trade him when Devin Williams is on his way back, and there you go, bang, bang, deal done. But let's move on to a starter here. Somebody who actually I really like, somebody I got in a couple of leagues. Let's talk about about Garrett Whitlock? Boston needed to fill out that rotation, and they went Garrett Whitlock's way, and the guy's actually pretty talented. Over his career, he's been pretty good. But you know what? In his first start against Seattle, 5 innings, 8 strikeouts, only gave up a run, had an 0.6 whip, so kept the walks and hits down as well in that one. I really like Garrett Whitlock, who's only 34% owned. Looks like his next outing is going to be against the Angels. Angels aren't, a team that I'm too scared of right now, outside of Mike Trout. So Garrett Whitlock is somebody we can roll out there. I think we really need to get him. There's another guy, 75, 80% owned for Garrett Whitlock. As I said, the talent is there. He's shown it before in his big league career. And he's still fairly young, 27 years old guy, still getting it done. Career 3.47 ERA, over 228 innings, over a K per 9, a 1.13 whip in his career. So Garrett Whitlock, honestly, a must add for me right now. It's the guy I think in a week's time going to be on 90% owned.
Yeah, I mean Garrett Whitlock, everybody kind of was like a darling, hoping that he would get the spot and be able to not only keep it but also stay healthy too. So let's see what happens. Whitlock has a lot of potential to stay in your lineup. It's just a matter of how long can this last and what is going to be the next thing. Next outing ain't so bad either, but I'm going to move on here. I'm going to talk about Brady Singer. I don't know how much I'm buying his last start. Last start was pretty good. Went out against the Twins, 7 innings, 10 Ks, got the dub, gave up no runs, a 0.57 whip. Like, these are all good things. But, he's one of those guys that, like, I think is not going to be somebody long term, but his next matchup is looking like it's going to be the White Sox. And with Eloy Jimenez already hurt, and, all you got to do is pitch through one guy of Luis Roberts pretty much. Singer should be a decent, play. So, I mean, as long as he isn't giving up the double dongs like, over the weekend, Luis Roberts did, Singer should be a fair start and somebody you want to like, kind of stream this week, and we'll see how he pans out. I mean, if he keeps rolling out, stuff like he did in this last start against the Twins, maybe we have to reevaluate, but he's one of those guys, like we talk about baseball savant here and there, but he doesn't have a lot of good color. It's mainly blue, where you want a lot of red. So the only thing that he's really good at is ground ball. Everything else is just not there. Um, my guy can just, pretty much not do anything successful except cause contact for ground ball, which isn't the worst thing, but he just hasn't been successful. He's had one good year in his career. So, again, he's the reason why we're talking about him is pretty much for a rental. And let's see how he builds off of this last start, which was pretty nice. But yeah, Brady Singer.
Yeah, Singer was, pretty highly touted, and that's another reason I threw his name on here. Honestly, at the moment, Singer is 16% rostered, so it might be more of a watch list situation. Throw him on your watch list for right now and kind of see where the thing goes, because the kid's talented. His fastball isn't great. Breaking stuff is a little bit better with the slider. But I just want to see if he can build on it. At 27 years old, it's kind of a make or break year for Brady Singer. It's either, hey, listen, let's get something done, or he's on a new team next year. So with Brady Singer, watch list him for now, and we'll see where the thing goes. Let's move on. Before we move on to actually a young, rookie pitcher who took the league by storm, another closer for you, and we move on to bats after that. We do have a quick ad break for you guys. And guys, we're talking Amazon Fire TV. Fire TV is your destination for sports, from live games to highlights to in-depth analysis. Fire TV offers amazing viewing experiences with smart TVs, as well as the Fire TV sticks that you can plug into your existing TV that provides access to millions of movies, TV shows, and free and live TV as well. Whether it's opening weekend for baseball, which was great, or the college basketball tournament, you're going to want to have a Fire TV. Fire TV recently created Fire TV channels to deliver a constant supply of the latest videos from your favorite sports, bands, and all for free. That includes all of us here at Locked On and most of the big leagues as well, including the college conferences too. Fire TV channels let you dive into all of the in-depth analysis, highlights, and more to keep up to date in the latest of the worlds of sports, from March Madness, NBA, MLB, and a lot more. Not to mention the great news, entertainment, gaming, travel, and cooking videos. Check out the Fire TV channels on Fire TV and Alexa devices. If you haven't checked out the Fire TV channels yet, you totally should. You guys got to trust me on this one. To learn more, visit amazon.com/LockedOnFireTV. And are you watching Fox Sports or ESPN on your TV all day and you have to turn down the volume with all that shouting? Make the switch over to Locked On Sports Today, a free 24/7 sports streaming channel programmed for your everyday to bring you the biggest stories without all of that screaming. Locked On Sports Today brings you can't miss analysis, opinions, and news streaming 24/7 on YouTube or the free Amazon Fire TV channels app. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. And guys, the most important one to Matt and I, guys, join us on the Subtext platform. Matt and I are bringing you alerts right to your phone. Now that we're in season, you're going to get waiver wire rankings. All these players we're talking about today are going to be ranked and sent right to your phone. Injury alerts. There's a lot of those over the weekend. You guys probably, want to know about those. We're going to get you covered on those as well. And then, prospect call-ups, guys. We're going to get some prospect call-ups soon. I don't know if you've seen Jackson Holiday down there, but Jackson Holiday is ripping and dipping. And as soon as Jackson Holiday gets called up, you're going to get that alert first right to your phone on the Subtext platform. And there's so much more in the Subtext that we can offer here in this 30-minute episode. So make sure you check us out and give us a chance on Subtext. But Matt, that is a lot of talking for me, my brother. Who do we got up next, sir?
Sorry, had it muted. We got Jared Jones here, rookie sensation. It looks like, Pittsburgh Pirates prospect, got the call this year. Looking like he's, going to continue his, stance of what he did in spring. Pitched 16 innings this spring, had 15 strikeouts, gave up no runs, had a whip of 104, looking great. And then he comes out in his first start and throws 5 innings, had 10 Ks. He did give up how many runs here? 3,
Two.
Unfortunately. Oh, 2. I see 3.
It might be 3.
3 runs, and it is what it is. Finished with a 4.76, but ultimately, I'm not really concerned about it because hey, he's a rookie. He's going to make these mistakes. But what really sticks out for me is the whip was low. It was sub 1. The 10 Ks obviously in 5.2 innings. These are all telltale signs of a guy that might just churn out and start breaking out a little bit. And even if he runs a short little course of a month run where he just the league hasn't seen too much of him, had a lot of exposure, we might be able to take advantage. He's 42% owned, and somebody that I think we should add everywhere and get that number up to 80, 90% just based off of the fact that there's a possibility that we could have a serious case contributor. On top of that, Pittsburgh Pirates are looking like they're doing their thing and winning games. So there's some win potential too. I mean, we also have the Pirates started off last year. Why can't we try and see if they'll repeat at least the beginning of the season and take advantage and get a little edge in pitching?
If O'Neal Cruz stays healthy, the sky's the limit.
Yeah, that is true.
Yeah,
I mean, go for it.
So with the young Jones, I like what I'm seeing. He doesn't really have a great track record in the minors, not really a lot of prospect pedigree. But when you see a guy do what Jared Jones did in spring training, and then it looks like it's translating here in the season, you got to take note and you got to add him on your teams. Like Matt said, get this guy owned, throw him on the end of your rotation, and hey, what's the worst case scenario? You drop him in 2 weeks, he has 2 more bad starts. But I think there's something here. I think there's some legit changes. The arsenal looks pretty interesting with, he threw the slider, most in his first start there, then went 4-seam, threw a couple curveballs, a couple changeups as well. So, he's not afraid to mix things up there. Maybe we'll see some more usage on those other 2, the curveball and the changeup a little bit more. But I like Jared Jones. I want to see where the thing goes. 22 years old, he still has a lot of potential here. So pick up Jared Jones and ride the wave for now. But let's move on to our next guy here. Let's talk about another closer. If you happen to miss out on Uribe, you got Jason Foley over here. Looks like he's got the closer's gig there in Detroit. Hey, Langja had it last year. Looks like, Foley's got it this year in Detroit. You never really know what's going on there these days. But you know what? Had a good year last year, did Foley, 2.61 ERA, 69 innings. Not really a big strikeout guy with the 55 strikeouts, a 1.15 whip. This is more of like, hey, you know what, if you're really in a league where you're dying for a closer, you know, maybe you had a couple of guys that got hurt in the Seawalds and, you know, the Romanos and the guys like that, and you were left without. Foley's up to 49% owned, a little bit more high, like, you know, a little bit less than Uribe, but, you know, closers are a dime a dozen. If he's out there and you need the saves, you can go out there and grab Jason Foley for now.
Yeah, I mean, hey, saves are valuable no matter what, and I mean, you know, who knows? Detroit might say, "Hey, we're gonna you know stay in games and put Foley in a position to get you some saves." Why the heck not? But Dom, great take. I don't think I need to spend too much time on him because he's not so relevant. But hey,
Yeah, of course.
you know, let's go here. Let's talk about Luis Campusano, somebody that I think is relevant just based off of the Sean Murphy injury over the weekend and him hurting his oblique, and is going to be out for at least 10 days. You know, Campusano was able to go out there and at least perform a little bit. You know, he did hit a dinger. He had 4 runs. He had 6 ribs. He's batting 391 over the weekend. I like that. Obviously, I don't see him maintaining that either, but Campusano is somebody that, you know, has a history of, you know, looking decent. You know what I'm saying? But his spring was pretty good as well. You know, 36 at bats, 5 runs, 2 doubles, a bomb, 4 ribs, you know, batted 250. I'm not mad at this, especially out of the catcher position. You know, a quick little fill in for Sean Murphy. Why not? I mean, obviously, you want to run the, you know, Travis d'Arnaud, but I mean, if d'Arnaud was scooped up instantly, Compensano could easily be a guy that you just scoop up, replace, and ride out the wave until somebody else pops up. But I mean, hey, why the hell not?
I think you're selling him short. Campusano was actually a huge, big time prospect when he was coming up through the, you know, Padres system, but it was kind of like clogged at the, you know, catcher position. So he's actually been in the bigs, you know, since 2020. He got called up back in 2020 as a 21-year-old. Just Padres never really had, you know, the full-time gig for him. He gets it this year. And honestly, this is exactly what I wanted to see from Campusano. I think he's definitely going to be a top 10 catcher the rest of the way. I think he takes it, runs with it. Pick him up now, even if he is just your Sean Murphy replacement. I know Mitch Garver's a little bit banged up at the moment too with his back, a couple other catchers as well. But I would pick up Campusano as even like trade bait, those 2 catcher leagues if he's out there. 53% owned for Campusano, getting a little bit up there, but a guy I love. He's got power. You know, that Padres lineup isn't what it was, but, you know, a catcher that's going to play a lot, that can, you know, hit you for a good batting average, not going to strike out a crazy amount, and could hit you 30 home runs. I think needs to be universally owned. I think at the end of the year, we're going to be talking about him as a top 10, maybe even a bullish prediction, top 5 catcher going into next season. Absolutely love Campusano. Let's keep things moving here. I'm going to try and sneak in one more guy before we, you know, do this break. But let's talk about Orlando Arcia, another guy. I'm actually surprised he's not, you know, more owned at the moment. He had a pretty decent year last year, you know, playing every day for the Braves. Looks like, you know, he's going to play every day for the Braves again this year. So you know what? I don't see why he shouldn't be more owned. So far, he's doing pretty good on the year, batting 500. You know, 1 walk to 3 strikeouts. He's got 3 doubles, couple runs. You know, I think he's eligible at short end. Is he still eligible at second on Yahoo? No, just short right now for Arcia. But you know what? For a guy that's just going to be in the Braves lineup every day, you know, not do too much crazy of anything, but 14% owned shortstop's a tough position to fill. Last year, Arcia had 17 bombs, 66 runs, 65 RBIs, and hit 264. He's not really moving the needle anywhere, but you know what? In some of those deeper leagues where, you know, you might need it in middle infielder or a shortstop, Arcia is definitely a way I'd look on a great team too.
Yeah, I mean, Arcia is interesting. I mean, he's part of the reason why they shipped off Von Grissom. You know, Arcia just was able to lock it up. And I mean, hey, you're not just buying him, you're buying the team around him. So, you know, we'll see what he could bring and if he could stay healthy for this year, which could be the only reason why he wasn't further owned. So, I mean, hey, it is what it is. But before we move on, we start talking about Mr. Will Benson, Michael Conforto, and Mitch Haniger. We do have a sponsor for you. And guys, we're talking FanDuel. The sports calendar is loaded, and FanDuel is making it even more exciting to get in the action. Because right now, new customers get $250 in bonus bets with any winning $5 bet. That's $250 if you can bet that you can use to bet on the tourney, MLB, NBA, NHL, and so much more. So, guys, like you want to do some same game parlays, you want to do even live bets in the like heat in the moment, right? Like you think like, okay, I don't know, Schwarber looks like he's going to turn around and hit a bomb, or Juan Soto just looks like he's just going to crank one. Then yeah, let's go out. Let's place that bet on FanDuel and call it a day and see if you win some money right there, right in the inning. So visit FanDuel.com/lockedon and make your first bet a big one. FanDuel, #1 sportsbook, official partner of all these sports. All right. That was great. Let me tell you. So let's just move on. Let's talk about Mr. Will Benson. Will Benson, Cincinnati, Cincinnati Reds. He is about 28% owned. Had a nice weekend. He had 2 runs, a bomb, 3 ribs, batting .417. Real great. I like the potential. I like, him in the minors where he showed off that he had a little bit of power. He definitely has some speed. You know, can somewhat bat for average in some of those seasons. Other than that, I see like a 206, excuse me, a 230, a 180. But who knows? I don't think this 417 is real. I think he's going to be more like a 240 hitter. But hey, if he's able to play every day and keep the spot, even in the short term while he's hot, he's definitely worth an ad. But if he's able to play for a full season, he might be able to crank you out in Great American Hitter Park, and hit you 30 bombs if he does decide to actually play the whole season. There's going to be a lot of batting average disparity, and it's going to suck. But hey, if he's hitting power and he's driving in runs, depending on where he's hitting that day in the lineup, Benson could contribute. He's kind of like a speculative ad, maybe watch. But I mean, if you're hurting right now, if you lost Royce Lewis, if you lost, Eloy Jimenez, yeah, you lost anybody this week, Will Benson might be just a plug and play in the short term until a better option, arises, or until he cools off. Right now, I'm definitely not afraid to, plug him into the lineup, especially if I'm desperate in those deeper leagues.
Yeah, man, I don't know what it is about Will Benson, but I got a lot of love for the kid, man. I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's that he's 6'5", or that he's a lefty. I don't know. Apparently, I got a thing for lefties too. I don't know what it is. But or the park he hits in the team he's on. But Will Benson, last year he got it done. Last year he had 11 homers and 19 steals in 108 games. So as Matt mentioned, a little bit of pop, a little bit of speed. I think the speed is more legit than the pop, but the pop is nothing to laugh at either with Will Benson. Matt's had a full season, 30 steals, 18, 19 homers. The runs and RBIs could be decent. I think the runs are going to be better than the RBIs. He's been hitting 9th lately in that Reds lineup. So if he's hitting 9th, he's going to get driven in a decent amount by the top of that lineup if he gets on base. Batting average, as Matt mentioned, has been suspect all over the place throughout his minor league career. But did hit 275 last year in the bigs. 40 walks, 203 strikeouts isn't atrocious in today's day and age. So, if Will Benson can keep it going, maybe made some legitimate changes, at 26 years old for Will Benson. It's very, very believable. I'd go out there and snag him. I'd go out there and get him on roster, especially in those 5 outfielder leagues. 28% owned for Benson. Go out there and snag him now. We got another outfielder in the mix for you. Let's talk about somebody you actually might have heard of if you've been around for a while. Let's talk about Michael Conforto. Michael Conforto has been hot. He started off the season looking pretty good so far for Conforto. In his 4 games, he has 16 or 15 at bats, 6 runs, 2 doubles, 2 homers, 5 RBIs, and he's hitting 400. Obviously, I don't think he's going to keep up, the dominance in the batting average department. But you know what? Conforto's a career 253 hitter. He's got some pop. Could he give you 30 home runs with a 250 batting average? Maybe some, decent counting stats in that San Fran lineup. Probably a decent amount of RBIs over there. Maybe he steals you 5 bases, so I won't really be counting too much for him over there. But you know what? Conforto's a guy that we know has the caliber to be, a contributing force, not only in the MLB, but on your fantasy team. So, I'd look his way. He's currently 24% rostered at the moment. So if you missed out on the Will Benson, I would also consider looking at Conforto's way as well.
Yeah, Conforto, we'll see. I've never been a Conforto guy, but I'm for, picking him up off waivers and seeing if he can actually contribute. We'll see what happens. I mean, it's all about riding the wave week in, week out, manufacturing wins, and he could be a guy that help you manufacture until he kind of cools off again. But yeah, let's move on. Let's keep going. Wow, we're at the last name. We're gonna have to pull some out, or we're gonna have to.
I,
Yeah.
I have an idea. I have an idea.
All right, sounds good. We got Mitch Haniger. Mitch Haniger is somebody that we've always loved. He's like a guilty pleasure for us.
Yes.
When healthy, he is a dominant force. In all honesty, guy can hit the ball to the moon. He can drive in ribs with that team. Runs. Batting average will be about what's his career
257.
257. So you could expect that range. And, Haniger's Haniger. I think that right now, him being 25% owned, with him already having a nice weekend, that should change instantly. If you're not aware of him being available, please make sure you're out there. 25% owned. He had 3 runs this weekend, had a bomb, 3 ribs, and he batted 286. So he's already off to a great start. Uh, you know, Again, it's just a matter of when he's going to get hurt. But with the loss of Eloy, with the loss of all these other players, Henrik could easily fit in and subsidize what you've just lost for at least a couple weeks, because then I swear his phalanges will kick in and it will put him somewhere in a relative form of a doctor, orthopedic, or hospital. But Mitch Haniger at least plays at least 300-400 at bats a year, unlike other guys I love to duty all over, and Royce Lewis might fall in that category himself. So Mitch Haniger definitely needs to be added, and without a doubt. I mean, outfield scarcity is another thing. So all right, I'm done rambling. Please get
Yeah.
the mic get away from me.
Yeah,
Uh,
25% owned for Haniger, and Haniger had his best season ever on Seattle. He's back in Seattle in 2021. Haniger played 157 games for Seattle, 620 at bats, 110 runs, 23 doubles, 39 home runs, 100 RBIs, and he had 253. And he also had 54 walks, 169 strikeouts. That's kind of ugly. But he can do it. Mitch Haniger proved, hey, I like Seattle. He liked to hit in Seattle, had a great season in Seattle. Sleepless in Seattle. I don't know anymore. But I like Mitch Haniger, and honestly, he has the most talent out of all of the 3 outfielders we mentioned on today's episode. So I would probably go out there and add him first out of those 3. But let's do something else, man. Let's switch it up. Let's have a little bit of fun. The opening weekend was here, and I think we should each highlight one player or moment or a thing that we really enjoyed or surprised us from opening weekend. And the person I'm going to talk about is Shane Bieber, man. I kind of got to talk about it. I think it was the most interesting thing to me that I saw over the weekend. Shane Bieber went out there. I know it was Oakland. You could preface that, but 6 innings, the win, 11 strikeouts, 0.83 whip. I really loved what I saw from Bieber. Do I think he's back to like a top 10 caliber pitcher? No, but hey, could he be a top 25 guy? Oh yeah, definitely. He could be right, I think right over that K per 9. I think he could win games on that Guardians team. And I really like the pitch mix here that he threw. You look at over Baseball Savant. That 4-seamer was working. The slider was working. He threw 7 knuckle curves. Like, look at Shane Bieber just like learning how to pitch with what he's got. And I really think that says a lot about him, student of the game. If you drafted Shane Bieber on draft day, the price was around like an SP4, 5. So if you got him right now, you got yourself, could be an SP2. Honestly, I really love Shane Bieber. The 11 strikeouts were awesome to see. Vintage performance. Loved it. Matt, what do you think about Bieber, and who do you got for us?
I mean, Bieber, I called it. I mean, I didn't think he was gonna be like this good right off the gate, but man, I don't think he'll ever be an SP1 like you said, but man, I was right, and I wish I got more shares of him,
Me too.
honestly.
Me too.
Um, I mean, Dom, you weren't even touching him with a 10-foot
Oh, I
pole, so
wasn't. Yeah, I wasn't.
yeah,
That was the problem.
yeah. But me, I was on it. I got sniped every time there was an opportunity. Somebody else was there that I liked. Cough, cough, Bailey over. That sucked. But I'm not out on Bailey over at all. But don't get me started. It was just one bad start. What are we gonna do? But anyway, I want to highlight Fernando Tatis. Honestly, everybody was kind of questioning, okay, should we actually draft him this high in the top 10, top 12? Is he even a first round pick? What could possibly be this kid's outcome, right? And I think, somewhere in the ballpark of being, the tier of Ronald Acuna. And this weekend is kind of showing it off. He had 2 bombs over the weekend. He had 3 runs, 2 ribs, batted 267, an OPS of 1,000. I love it. And the only thing I need to see from him to really just say confirm he's here is for him to run a little bit more. That is the one thing I'm really waiting for. And last year what did he manage to get on us? If you know, let me look real quick. We got like a minute.
Steals, he stole 29.
29.
Yeah.
So 29. So as long as he can get on that pace of 29 and get on the 30 home run pace, I'm all about it. This dude is going to just, pretty much explode for us next year, and he's going to be a top 3 pick next year, by all means.
Yeah, man. I think everyone forgets that Tatis is still only 25. He's made some mistakes in his past. Let's give him the benefit of the doubt and see if he can, get back on the right track. I think he is. And Matt, great highlight there. Could be, number 2 pick next year. But that being said, that is all for us today. Please be sure to like, subscribe, comment, rate, and review. Shout out to our everydayers and new listeners for, making us your first listen each and every day. But guys, until tomorrow, see ya.
Peace.